I'm sure you've heard the name before, whether in the context of football, Pablo Escobar, or possibly its thriving nightlife. This is Colombia, a country in the midst of the Amazon with a population that has been longing for happiness. Colombia, with a population of 52 million people, it's 5 times the size of its neighbor Ecuador. It has a large land area of 1,142,000 square kilometers, and a diverse environment. For example, the Caribbean Sea borders the country's north, while the huge Pacific Ocean borders the country's west. It shares a land boundary with Panama to the north, Ecuador is to the south, and Venezuela is to the east. Hundreds of rivers also crisscross the area, contributing to its lush fields. In terms of the country's topography, it's worth noting that not every corner of its huge geographical area, which exceeds 1 million square kilometers, is inhabited. Settlements are predominantly located in the country's northern and western areas. The Amazon rainforests cover the whole southeastern and southern regions of the country, with no traces of human life. Within these jungles, only a few primitive tribes dwell in seclusion. Colombia is now South America's second most populous country, trailing only Brazil. The implications of having a huge population in a relatively underdeveloped country have resulted in issues that push women towards immoral behavior and men into theft and robbery. Medellin is one of those cities. It is located in Colombia's interior, north of the capital, Bogota. Its initial reputation stemmed mostly from the bad image linked with Pablo Escobar. The city's skyline may remind you of Hong Kong when viewed from above. The fact that approximately 3 million people live in this relatively tiny 382 square kilometer area has resulted in the building of large vertical buildings. Medellin was once recognized as the world's most deadly city until roughly 30 years ago. There are still slum areas, but the once powerful organized criminal gangs are almost non-existent. This city, previously a cartel stronghold, is now one of Colombia's most popular tourist destinations. Visitors to Colombia often stop in Medellin to pay their respects at Escobar's grave. Escobar, the founder of the Medellin cartel, has been the topic of countless TV shows and films around the world. Following that, he was removed from the picture by US-backed agents. Following Escobar, Medellin and Colombia started on a quick process of renewal in order to shed their terrible reputation. They have succeeded in eradicating some of the previously held negative opinions over time. Streets that were once too unsafe to access have now been transformed into tourist hotspots. On practically every corner, there are street artists and graffiti. There's a district in the city named Comuna 13 in particular, and daytime activity in Medellin centers around it. Comuna 13 is, in reality, one of the most photographed sites in the country. It's a site where you may effortlessly interact with Colombians. Furthermore, Medellin is a very hot city, and many go to shopping malls to escape the heat. Malls and fairs throughout the country are busy at all hours of the day. As a result, Medellin attracts visitors from all over the world. One of the primary causes for this is the dramatic depreciation of Colombia's currency, the peso. $1 equals around 4,200 Colombian pesos, according to the official exchange rate. A substantial meal may be had for as low as 12,000 pesos anywhere in the country. So, an outsider may fill up for $3 and stay in upscale hotels for roughly $30 per night. If you ask around, the ordinary citizen in Medellin and the capital, Bogota, can earn as low as $300 per month. The country's minimum wage is only $261. As a result, locals do not have the same standard of living as tourists. The country has an Uber system, And for roughly $3, you can get anywhere in Medellin without dealing with packed public transportation. However, if you take conventional yellow taxis, you may end up paying much more. Locals, on the other hand, prefer to ride motorcycles because most Colombians cannot afford to acquire a car. People cannot save much, and the little they earn is used to meet their basic requirements. This is why Colombia resembles Thailand in South America. Eating and having fun are quite cheap here, yet unemployment is high. There are many street sellers, for example. You could assume that a lemonade from a street vendor costs nearly nothing, at 3,000 pesos, less than $1. The city center is bustling, with street sellers and crowds everywhere. The most difficult aspect for shop owners is that Colombia is close to the Ecuadorian border. Therefore, the weather is quite hot and humid. Because of its location, this country receives sunlight at a fairly steep angle, making it even hotter. Given that the city is highly congested both during the day and at night, you must exercise extreme caution when carrying your wallet and bag in Colombia, because there are numerous pickpockets in the country. Travelers frequently do not carry their wallets and just take the amount of money they intend to spend when they go out. In fact, you might sometimes observe police arresting people even during the day. There are street dancers like this in the midst of Medellin as well. They dance in the middle of the road whenever the traffic lights turn red and then seek for money from passing automobiles. Others try to make a living by jumping in front of cars and cleaning their windshields. When you walk the streets of Medellin at night, you can witness how people spend their lives. Almost everywhere is crowded, and thousands of tourists come to Colombia solely for the nightlife. Unfortunately, this country is a prostitution hotspot in South America. Many women, particularly from Venezuela and Ecuador, come to Medellin to work in this industry. Negotiations for this work can plainly be seen taking place in the alleyways. When you meet someone in a public place, they will almost always ask you for money. When you talk to them, they are very pleasant and may even pose for the camera, but the topic usually goes to money. If you make it evident that you have money, you can quickly locate dozens of people to spend time with. In fact, if you make eye contact with them for more than 5 seconds, they will begin to approach you on their own. Furthermore, Colombian police do not meddle with these individuals. Put simply, it is legal to prostitute in this nation. The police only intervene when people are selling illegal substances and never in personal relationships. If you prefer entirely natural connections, you should absolutely dance with Colombians. One of the most crucial aspects that connect people in the country is the unique Latin dances of their country. The music doesn't stop until 5 a.m., and they dance non-stop. Finally, if a country's minimum salary is less than $400 USD, and unemployment is considerable due to population growth, individuals will resort to whatever means to maintain their standard of living. Money opens every door in Colombia, and Medellin is the clearest example of this. And here is Bogotá, the capital, with its vibrant cityscape. A city of 7 million people with cable cars running through it. Street art is highly recognized in Medellin, which is located at an elevation of 2,650 meters above sea level and snuggled amid the mountains. Because of its location, Bogotá is now in one of Colombia's most inland and central regions. In comparison to Medellin, the city's operation provides a more smoother and more metropolitan atmosphere. It is safe to claim that the majority of Colombia's business is conducted through Bogotá. Those who desire to study at a university in the country, on the other hand, primarily come to Bogotá. The Santa Fe Street, known as the most dangerous street in Bogotá, is where illegal operations take place, and most people do not dare to enter. Of course, Colombia has more than simply cheap food and a vibrant nightlife. There are numerous other aspects that distinguish the country. For example, here's a rare area in South America that will transport you to Norway. The Guatapé hamlet is about a 2-hour drive from Medellin, a lush green haven where mountains meet water. This massive rock formation is the region's most outstanding feature. Its formation is thought to have occurred millions of years ago. It now serves a tourism purpose. And there is, of course, a cost to climb it. What if I told you that this breathtaking lake vista was made artificially? Although it appears to be natural from above, it was really designed by Colombians. This land was turned into a lake in the 1970s, and a dam was built to give electricity to Colombia. Villages like this one in Colombia have some odd local markets. People are selling and eating alligator heads and fish you've never seen before in the markets. These fish are said to grow in the Amazon rivers. Furthermore, Colombians who cannot purchase ready-made cigarettes consume rolled tobacco. These tobacco products are manufactured by the vendors and supplied to the general population at substantially lower prices. Colombians are kind and hospitable people who eat all that they can find, especially in rural locations like here. A live turtle can be purchased at the market, grilled and eaten. Economic difficulty, in my opinion, must be the reason for devouring things down to worms. Otherwise, it's difficult to comprehend why people eat worms or turtles. On the other side, there is a river in Colombia that is unlike any other. This river is located in the heart of the Amazon rainforests and is totally red. Colombians attribute this to a red plant that grows inside the river and is not found anywhere else in the world. Since its discovery in 1969, the river has been known as the Five-Colored River. If Colombia hasn't already aroused your curiosity, there is one more place in the country that is absolutely special. Consider a tiny island in the middle of the sea with no land access. The island is packed with people, and there is a shanty on every corner. There is no municipal government in the area, and the residents govern themselves and make their own rules. In fact, there isn't even a police officer in the vicinity who can respond if a crime is committed. There is also no hospital where they can go if they become ill. They must either treat themselves or travel to the mainland. This little town is home to 1,200 people. Furthermore, there are no chain businesses, supermarkets, or shops of any kind on the island. Santa Cruz del is the name of the island, which exists independently of life on Colombia's mainland. The only way to get there is via boat from the mainland to the island. A visitor who does not live on the island is allowed to stay for a maximum of 10 days. The occupants of the island do not want anyone to remain more than 10 days. On the island, there is only one hostel and no other choices. The only source of income for the island's residents is fishing and selling it in Colombia. Fish is, predictably, the main cuisine consumed by families on the island. They get their electricity from solar panels that have been constructed on the island. On the island, there are approximately 200 solar panels and Wi-Fi internet access. So, while they live in isolation from Colombia's internal concerns, they do not live in isolation from the modern world. They do not, however, have a sewage system, and the islanders are compelled to use the water in which they catch fish for their toilet needs. In terms of cleanliness, this renders the location uninhabitable. We have reached the end of our journey through the land of Colombia. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Where would you like to visit next?